Mr. Vice.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You're always the go-to guy.
Thank you.
All right, we have no highlights this evening. Are we going to take your comments? There are none. All right, so we'll move on to routine items. Approval of the meeting minutes. Did anyone see any corrections from last month's minutes? Okay. Next then to the superintendent's report. Mr.
Yep, I've got that tonight. Registration for 25-26 school year is underway. We've already had several people complete registration. I think the first finished at like 12:02 when it opened at 12 o'clock. Midnight, 12 o'clock the other night. So that's underway. The ISBA IAPSS Fall Conference is coming up in the middle of September. I'm sure Pamela will get you more information on that if registration is a possibility for you. The Region 4 meeting to be determined, hopefully hosted at TSC. You all. That's a 6 o'clock dinner and a 7 o'clock meeting. And then just some exciting announcements. The Arbor Day Foundation named Cole Elementary a 24-25 tree campus for its commitment to tree education, hands-on learning, and community engagement. The SIA Foundation awarded a $14,500 grant to Amy Icky from Dayton Elementary School to support the installation of polycarbonate greenhouse. Second grant was awarded to Megan Doyle at KMS to purchase new equipment for the technology class. And then finally, TSC mechanic Blake Phoebus took first place in the State Transportation Association of Indiana safety competition. The competition included a written knowledge test, electrical test, transmission test, and identifying defects on buses and a time driver concern diagnostic challenge. Most importantly, the water pump on my truck started going out and Blake is fixing it now. so I appreciate Blake doing that for me. So that concludes the superintendent's report.
Excellent, thank you. Financial report.
Yeah, tonight the financial report includes accounts payable register totaling $19.3 million. Our monthly financial report that includes fund comparisons, expenditure comparisons, month-to-month comparisons, and our donation report for the second semester 24-25 of $150,000. That's my financial report for the month.
Great, thank you. Instruction report.
Yes, Mr. Boone, I have the staff development report there for you to review. If you have any questions, let us know.
Additionally, we've attached for your approval some field trips from our high school athletic departments. Most of those are teams on overnight camps throughout the summer prior to competition this fall.
All right, back to Dr. Allison for personnel report.
Yes, it's July, but we do still have retirements rolling in. So we had two certified teachers retiring this month. Eilish Luck from Mentani Elementary School, grade 1, 38 years of teaching, 33 of those with TSC. And Deb DeLion, our Elston Alternative Education teacher, has 29 years, 28 with us. So I want to wish them well and congratulate them on their retirements.
Thank you. Any department reports?
Up here.
Board council is not here. Any board committees? All right. Can we get a motion then to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So
Second. Motion by Sondra, second by Harper. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Consent
That's
agenda.
not one.
Oh, so did he get one?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, you got to give him a second.
Yes.
For the delay.
I'm a yes vote.
On to old business then. Dr. Allison, you also have the board policy revisions.
Yeah, Dr. Hamback shared those revisions with you last month, so this would just be considered the second reading. So unless there are questions about those, we would just like a recommendation to approve those.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the board policy revisions as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Logan.
Second.
Second by Sondra. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Right. All right, board policy revisions are approved. Under new business, feasibility study, Mr. Tobias and Gibraltar.
Yes, today we have with us our team from Gibraltar Design, Inc. who is here to review the final floor plans and design for the Early Learning Center and the Alternative Learning Center that we've been discussing. We have Dr. McCormick here with us tonight. She wants to introduce her team. We have a PowerPoint presentation that they'll go through here rather quickly.
Good evening, everyone. I'll go ahead and do the intros while we're waiting on that. I am Jennifer McCormick. I'm the chairman of the board for Gibraltar Design. I am the substitute for Chris Kingery, as he would much rather be here. He is at class tonight. So he said, can you please go? And I said, absolutely. I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you and thank Steve. This partnership has been amazing. I also want to thank all of you for what you do on a daily basis for kids, because I know you get those thank yous every single day. So just add mine to that today. So, but I do want to thank you. You guys have hard jobs, and so thank you for that. Tonight, or today, this afternoon, we have Elise McQueen, who's going to present. We also have Gail Wagner here to answer any of the technical questions. We're going to give you a design update. I'm going to turn it over because we were told be timely. So we will be timely. Thanks, everyone.
So I'm just gonna go through and give you an update on each of the buildings. And this is just a reminder of our guiding principles of all of our project partnerships. And then the process and planning, just a reminder of how we got to where we are today. And just that it's been a very inclusive and intentional involvement with all of you. So we're gonna jump into the Early Learning Center. This is the site plan. You've seen this before, but I wanted to show it again just to give you some context of where the building is. And then the floor plan, just to give you a general overview of the interior spaces. And then functional criteria, we go through each room in the building and list everything that you would need in the space to ensure that it functions the way that you need it to. So again, we went through each room in the building to make sure that it will work for you as the end user. And then for the Early Learning Center, so this is an exterior view, that clerestory addition you can see up at the top. We did make use of much of the existing building, but we added that clerestory so that it can bring some more natural light into the center of the building. This is what a typical classroom will look like. We strategically placed the classrooms so that we could make use of the existing windows and bring all that natural light into the space. You can see there's pops of color. There's an accent wall at the front of the classroom, and then also in the carpet so that it brings some energy into that space, but it's not so overwhelming. This is what the corridor will look like. It's a very playful design, but it can also be used as a learning tool with the different shapes and colors. There's another corridor in the building where there will be textured wall panels, and so it's actually an interactive and tactile experience for the kids. This is the indoor play area. This is where that clerestory is to bring all that natural light into the space. There's a very fun and playful use of color. And then those squares around the top of the room are actually acoustical panels that help to absorb sound in that space. Here's what the main lobby will look like when you enter the building. We were mindful of cost effectiveness in using some of the existing finishes and then making them work with the new design and new finishes. So you can see some of the wood there on the wall, and the slate flooring is from the existing building that we're going to reuse. And then you can see the logo for TSC. We want them to know that they're entering a new school. So now we're going to go to the alternative learning. Again, the site plan, just to give you some context for this building. And an overall floor plan, just to give you an overview of all those interior spaces. We did the same thing at this building where we went through each room and made sure that it would function the way that you needed to and that each space had everything that it would need. And then this is the exterior where we have the alternate for the multipurpose addition. We did keep it similar to the aesthetic of the existing building so that it looked like it all worked together. And then a typical classroom is a little bit more neutral compared to the early learning center. That front teaching wall has a darker gray accent instead of the bright blue, but we did keep some color in the carpet, so it still brings some energy and interest to the space. In this one, you'll see a lot more of that navy color to ground the design and keep it a little bit more adult feeling and not as childish for some of the older students in this space, but still using that navy to create interest. So here you see it in the ceiling and on that accent wall at the front, and then it's also in the flooring in the border. This is that multi-purpose edition. The colored wall panels, again, not only are there to serve as a fun design element, but they also do help with acoustics and absorbing sound. And then your lobby, so that blue wall that you see is actually a wall tile, and it's an interesting design element, but it also is very durable, so anyone entering that very front entrance of the space is not going to damage that wall at all. And then again, your logo, because we want them to know they're entering into the new school. And now I'm going to hand it over to Dale.
Anything on the design so far? I'm just gonna stay here at least. If not, we can go on to the budget and schedule. Okay. Yeah, you can just go on.
Okay.
I'll just stand here. So, the budget, the last time we met with you, there's been a lot more detail, a lot more investigation, conversation with the city, conversation with your staff, technology being brought in, hardware, all those things in it. So, these numbers are more refined than the ones you saw the last time. It's our best estimate in terms of what we anticipate the cost for each of these buildings. They did go down a little bit, especially at the Alternative Learning Center. There were some adjustments there being made, but we'll have a real number here in about another month. If you release this for plans and specs tonight, we're ready to go with that. So, any questions on the budget? Yeah, I feel pretty good where we're at. Okay. There are some alternates to protect the budget, the multi-purpose that Elise mentioned earlier. But there's also some things at the early learning that roof. That roof is kind of about the end of the stage, but you probably could get, if you needed to, get maybe a few more years squeaked out of, but it really needs to be replaced if we can. So we're trying to get that incorporated into your project now. And the painting of the fascia just kind of ties it all together, the nuclear story and all that. So that's some things that we're looking at. And on the next slide. So the schedule, I wrote an email to Diane Goldis for co-listing and said, Diane, I really feel that we've accomplished a lot in the last few months here. And it seems like, with your staff, meeting with your staff, and we have very much rhythm. You started with Dr. Ham back 3 or 4 months ago, and just kept on chipping away at it, and we're arrived at a good point. We're putting the finishing touches. The drawings and specifications are complete. If you authorize to go out for bid, which I'm hoping you will, we will right now have a bid opening on August 5th. That will line us up to come back to you at your August board meeting. Hopefully, good bids. There are contractors already calling me, and they have interest. You always draw a lot of interest for your school project. They like working with Tiffany School Corporation. And so we will, come back with hopefully bids that are within budget or maybe a little bit below. I'm not trying to win the project, so my numbers should be a little bit higher than that on bid day. So just keep that in mind. And then with that in mind, everything shakes out and get everything put together. We will start right now, anticipating starting construction in September. It's all inside, or I shouldn't say all, but the majority of the work is inside the building. So, weather, overwhelming, whatever, it shouldn't impede the contractors. So it's a fairly tight construction schedule, but most contractors, they don't seem to have a problem with it being done by next summer. July, August, they move in. goal, I think, when we started this, when I was contacted 6 or 8 months ago, so we're on track. Any questions? We've really appreciated the journey, to be honest. It's been a fun journey. Got to know even more people, we did Mayflower Mill just a little bit, seemed like that, a lot of more, a few more people in the district. Really appreciate that.
I have a quick question, not so much about the design or the budget or anything like that, but in regards to just refresh my memory, are we staffing this with new employees, or are we repositioning employees, or how's that working?
Yeah, the early learning,
Specifically the early learning.
yeah, that's gonna be
All new employees, right? Is there opportunity for some type of joint relationship between GLCA and this early learning center? Is there a program at GLCA that they're in early childhood development type of stuff that they can get hours or volunteer hours or?
Eventually, yeah.
If we have those students placed in our schools already.
Yeah.
Early childhood education.
Just seems like a good marriage between the two projects, so.
And that would coordinate, the date on that would coordinate with the dissolution of class
Correct.
and the transition back to TSC.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Tobias, I
So
think back to you.
the next step would be for us to request permission to bid these projects as presented.
All right, can we get a motion to approve the requested projects?
So moved.
Moved by Sondra,
I'll second.
Mr. Anderson, second by Anderson. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? All right. Approve, request to bid. Mr. Tobias again.
Yes, ma'am. So item 3 is the guaranteed maximum price approval. That is for the technology and nutrition services project that affects this building, the site work, and also the demolition of the existing technology center. We have a contract with J.R. Kelly. We selected them on the construction manager's constructor process. This is the amendment where they list the guaranteed maximum price that the corporation would pay. So I request permission or request that you approve the GMP price as presented at $4,189,061.
All right, can we get a motion to approve the GMP price as presented?
So moved.
Moved by Loggins. Second by Harper. Any discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. All right, that is approved. And the final one, request for proposal.
Yes, ma'am. Again, we're requesting to advertise for a request for proposal for construction manager as constructor for the phase 1 work at both Harrison and McCutcheon High Schools that we've been working with CSO architects on. So it is time now to engage and select a CMC provider for those services, or request permission to bid for these services, or to request a proposal for these services.
Can we get a motion to approve the request for proposal for CMC for these projects?
So moved.
Moved by Sondra,
Second.
second by Loggins. Any discussion there? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. And that will pass as well.
Thank you.
All right, so our next regular board work session will be on August 13th at 4 p.m. Tentatively in the office across the street, but we'll see for sure. And the next regular board meeting will follow at 6:30 p.m.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.